G'day guys, Josh here. Hope you guys are having a great day so far. Welcome to another episode of Financial Fruits. Be aware guys that this is a disclaimer to say this is all in general advice only. There's no discussion of your personal circumstances whatsoever. So any advice or any discussions or strategies that come out of this that you may think of that I'm recommending to you, I am not. This is no financial advice that's given on this channel. It's all general in nature, general disclaimer. I'm not giving you any personal financial advice. If I was, I'll be making sure you pay for it, basically, okay, as a financial advisor. Anyways, let's talk about part two, which is going to be about assets. So there are multiple different assets. Generally, there's the traditional 5 asset classes, which is cash, fixed interest, property, domestic shares, international shares. The reason why I say domestic because not all of you are Australian. And generally, they have their different exposures and, the different risks associated with it. For example, cash's biggest risk is the fact that if inflation's higher than the interest rates, you're actually losing money on cash. But cash is relatively safe. Fixed interest, you obviously still have the interest rate risk. If if the interest rates go up and you got a fixed interest rate, then you're losing money. But if you got a variable interest rate and the interest rates go down, you're also losing money. You also got various kind of risks where if someone issues a bond that's a higher interest rate than yours, and people may go to that for a similar risk business. And there's a lot of different variations of fixed interest, such as hybrids, bonds, T-bonds. Basically another risk that comes into it is duration, where, do you want a longer bond where the interest rates can go up and down during that time, or a shorter bond where, you're not affected by interest rates too much? That's the sort of things that you have to take with fixed interest. Now, last but not least is property. Property is obviously pestle and mortar, as most people call it, and property is a very illiquid asset. However, it does produce income, and it can go up or down over time depending on where it's at, how maintained it is, and stuff like that as well. Basically, property is a very, very direct investment that you're going to be spending a lot of time with if you invest in a direct investment property. However, there's a lot of property trusts and other people who manage property that you can invest into as well, and they usually manage into more commercial property and stuff like that as well. Also, properties, multiple different properties. There's commercial and residential, as I've mentioned as well. There's even infrastructure assets as well. Infrastructure can be split out to its own sub-point as well, such as, oil pipelines, water pipelines, and stuff like that as well. They can be owned and that you can obtain investment out of or be a part of the pool of investments. Next up is domestic shares, which is your own share market. We use, for an example here, the ASX 300 or the All Ords. With the All Ords as well, the All Ords has, not too much exposure to technology shares and healthcare and stuff like that, but has a lot of exposure to banks and minerals resources and stuff like that as well. So your domestic market may have its strong suits where it's got, good decent exposure to some areas of the market, but has no exposure to other areas of the market. And they operate differently from the market overall because of that advantage. For example, if, mineral resources are booming, that means your economy is probably going to be booming. But if they're going in a downturn, then your economy going in a downturn, and let's just say another economy, America, could be going up because of a different industry. International shares is every single share outside of Australia, such as, for example, or outside your country. For example, Rio Tinto is based in London. You've got Apple, Google, Shell, various of multinational companies that, in different areas of the world. And that's what you're leaning your exposure to. Now, some of you guys will be going, okay, what is the best asset out of all these? Well, the best asset out of all these will depend on your tolerance to risk and depends on how long you want to invest for. So if you want to invest for over, let's say, 7 to 10 years, most likely the domestic equities, the shares, and the international equities could be suitable for you. Unless, there's a lot of unlesses. I would go to a financial advisor about this as well. But those are the general ones that are for the longer term, because you're going to go through the ups and downs and stuff like that, but you're looking for the longer term growth. Now, at the end of the day as well, if you do want to take money out any time during those 7 years, maybe shares aren't for you. Maybe it's a cash account or a fixed interest account to get a higher interest rate. It really depends on your situation, your circumstances. So you need to ascertain those very, very, very carefully before you do anything. Okay? And as I said, financial advice is probably your best bet, given that you got a lot of money. If not, do your own research. Do your own research on this. You need to treat this very strictly as well, because finances can be boring, but they're well rewarding in the long run. It's like building a building, okay? Like building a Lego set, okay? You gotta put piece by piece in, and eventually when you put all the pieces in, you got a beautiful Taj Mahal, okay? Or whatever you were trying to build. But actually, the best asset is actually none of those assets, okay? The best asset is actually yourself. because you're yourself as a person. If you invest in yourself, whether build a business, work in industry, study, various like that, you can earn various sorts of income. Like as you work as a let's say work as a tradie, work as a white collar worker, as a financial planner after studying, working as a lawyer. Your best investment is yourself. So basically, you need to keep yourself healthy. Eat the right foods and stuff like that as well. I know it sounds like a typical self help thing, but you are your own best asset. Having relevant insurances there just in case you are sick and you're unable to work, so that income can be maintained. Maybe yoga, other stuff like that, the mental health, counseling stuff like that if you need it. So basically what you need to do is you need to make sure that you're healthy to be financially healthy. Those two things actually go hand in hand. You make better decisions when you're mentally healthy than you do when you're not. Okay, so controlling your impulses and stuff like that as well. But also at the same time, making sure you reward yourself as well, because if you play very minimalistic, the convenience that you can afford or generally get become a lot less, because buying the cheap stuff is not always the best. Buying the cheap but effective, mid tier, sometimes can be quite good as well. Some people actually use it as well, where people a richer worker can buy the better work boots that last longer than the poorer person could buy the lesser work boots. Just remember, you are investing in yourself at the same time, and it'll be all great for you as well. Now this is this obviously you are your own best investment, so you are effectively your own best asset. So if you are healthy, these investment decisions will be a lot easier for you. Now, let's go back to the basic asset classes. So cash fixed interest is generally for the people who are with a short-term view at the moment, like they're saving for a year or 2 years or anything like that. Or if they don't have enough money to invest in the market, then you just put into cash and fixed interest, because it doesn't cost much to maintain a cash account or a fixed interest account if you wish to proceed in it. Now, if you've got enough dosh, you can buy a few ETFs if you don't have too much, or buy the shares in general. You can buy into the Australian share market, or your own share market. You can probably put some money in a property fund, put some money into into a domestic ETF or international ETF. You can do that instead. There's a lot of ways you can basically skin the cat in investing in the market. Now, with investing in the market overall, there are a few things you want to read. You want to do your own research. There are a few investing guides on YouTube and stuff like that on how to invest. I know there's a lot of influencers as well who probably recommend crypto. I gotta say right now, if you don't know anything about crypto, don't go in, because basically crypto is very unregulated, and you'll see why. Very, very importantly, the regulations are needed, because you'll see it, later on, when you'll be like, oh, this happened, but in the market it would have happened because it's regulated. But either way, basically take your investments very seriously. Do your own research. Very, very important. I know crypto guys say this a lot, but you need to do it. And, take a good idea and a good dive into, how much you're willing to invest. How long are you willing to invest? Because those things are really, really important. And what sort of investments do you want? Can you deal with the market going up and down suddenly? If you can't, then maybe the investments aren't for you yet. Or maybe you just need to not look at the stock market every single day. That's another thing as well. The FOMO comes in with looking at the stock market every day. And also at the same time, just remember your investment philosophy when you go in, and just refresh yourself from time to time, saying hey, I'm doing this for, when I want to purchase a house, or when I want to do this, or when I want to do that. Because, I did that myself. My plan was to purchase this apartment, which I put money into the share market. I sold and bought shares as they came in. And that was pretty much what I did. Anyways, guys, if you guys enjoyed this episode of Financial Fruits of an Asset, remember the quick checklist. You are your own best asset. There are no best assets in the market. They're mainly based on your subjective factors, what you're trying to save for, and what you're trying to do as well. Last but not least, I'll give you this party conclusion as well. Just remember, your mortgage, if you got a mortgage, of course, with an offset account, is a pseudo investment. Think in the comments why is a pseudo investment, and thank you for making it to the end of the video. If you made it to the end of the video, leave a comment below. Okay, guys? Just think about why, the last one, think about why a mortgage with an offset account is a pseudo investment. See you guys later. If you guys have a great day, like, comment, subscribe.